In this part 2 of the video, we'll talk about that great age-old question, how can I save money? I know I need to do it. How do I do it? Well, paying off debts and preventing debt from accumulating and saving toward the future requires us to first control our debt, to use it wisely, and to have a sound repayment plan on any debt we currently have. And secondly, control our spending. The motivation here is simple. I want to be paid interest and earn a return on my money. I don't want to pay someone else interest. I'd rather use my money to save and invest and earn returns for future goals or needs, not to pay out more money over time and pay interest to a bank, a credit card company, or other lender. Okay, enough of the don't go into debt guilt trip. There are good uses for debt, namely to help you purchase items that will grow in value over time and that will last longer than the time it takes to repay the debt. Two good uses for debt include, first, investing in your human capital, such as loans for education. Your most valuable asset in terms of earning power is you. Investing in yourself to help increase future earning power is an appropriate use of debt. The higher income you earn should generate sufficient funds to repay the student loan. But like anything, too much of a good thing can be bad. Switching majors or changing schools can delay your graduation and increase your need for loans to pay for the extended time in college. And don't borrow more than is needed. That student loan is for your education and should be used and should not be used for rent for a top-notch luxury student apartment. That's investing in your comfort, not your future earning potential. Another good use of debt is investing in a home. You need to live somewhere. If you believe you will stay in a location for a number of years, it may be prudent to look into buying a house and building up equity in a house through your down payment and making regular mortgage payments, as opposed to paying a landlord rent and receiving no benefits other than a place to live. A traditional mortgage is for 30 years, but shorter-term loans are available. The lender will pay close attention to other outstanding loans you have and your level of income before granting you a mortgage. Over time, your earning power and house prices hopefully will tend to rise, therefore providing you a return. So student loans and mortgage loans to buy a home to live are considered by most financial advisors to be good debt, as opposed to bad debt, such as car loans. Why are car loans a bad debt? Because cars decline in value over time. That's why. Ditto for big credit card bills. Unless you have the cash emergency fund to pay the bill in full, stay away from credit card debt if at all possible. This is a type of debt where many times the payments can last longer than what you purchased. In addition, the interest rates can be quite high. But as far as the interest rates, as far as the payments lasting longer than what you purchased, here's an example. You have a big night on the town with friends, you rack up some big credit card charges, and then it takes several months to pay them off. That night out ended months ago, but you're still paying for it and paying interest on it. That's bad debt. Do you know your current debt situation? The U.S. government allows us to get a free credit report from each of the three main credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, once a year. Thus, you can check your credit report every 4 months. First, get one from, say, Equifax. 4 months later, get one from Experian. Wait another 4 months and get one from TransUnion. Wait another 4 months and a year has gone by, so you can get another free credit report from Equifax, and so on. How do you get a free credit report? There's one government-approved website, annualreport.com. Don't go to others. They may ask for money or encourage you to sign up for a service that will provide you, for a price, regular credit reports. By logging into annualcreditreport.com and answering some questions so they know it's really you and not someone pretending to be you, you can select one of the three credit bureaus and get a copy of your credit report. The report will list your credit cards, car loan, student loan, including current balances, and if you have missed or were late on any payments. You will want to get a copy of your credit report over time and review it to make sure it has no errors. Mistakes sometimes do happen. Reviewing a credit report helps you identify possible errors, like I never owned that credit card, or help you see if you may be a victim of identity theft. According to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, some common errors in credit reports include identity errors, where errors are made to your identity information. It might be a wrong name, phone number, or address. Or if your name is Sarah Jones, Sarah spelled S-A-R-A-H, it may be incorrectly listed as Sarah Jones, Sarah spelled S-A-R-A. Accounts belonging to another person with the same or similar name as yours. This mixing of two consumers' information in a single file is called a mixed file and needs to be straightened out so you get your credit record belonging to you all straightened out. And there are incorrect accounts resulting perhaps from identity theft. There's also incorrect reporting of account statuses. There might be a closed account that's reported as open. You may be reported as the owner of an account when you're actually just an authorized user. This sometimes happens with parents' credit cards. You may be listed as the owner of that credit card even though you're really just an authorized user of your parents' credit card. Accounts that are listed that are incorrectly reported as late or delinquent may need to be corrected, and an incorrect date of last payment or date open for a loan or credit card, or the date of delinquency. Or maybe you might have a loan listed more than once, perhaps with slightly different names. You want to get those checked out and corrected. So what if you do find an error on a credit report? You should follow a process to report it and try to correct it. Details are available on the websites of reputable organizations such as those listed on this PowerPoint slide. There are details on the websites of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the Federal Trade Commission, and MyFICO. That's M-Y-F-I-C-O. Beware of any website that says it will fix a credit report error for a fee. The process for fixing this is free. It does not require any fee payments. Well, what if you go to annualcreditreport.com and it says there's no credit report for you? Okay. Well, so that will happen for some students. You'll go to the website, answer the questions, and you're told there's no record on file for them. That may indeed be the case if you have no debt and no credit cards in your name. In this case, to help build up a good credit record, you may want to consider applying for a credit card, using it occasionally, and paying off the balance in full each month. Use it for convenience purchases such as groceries or filling up your gas tank, and paying the bills in full and on time to build up a good credit history. Having a history of paying bills on time and in full helps to build up your credit score. Most credit scores are computed by Fair, Isaac & Company, and hence they're called FICO scores, F-I-C-O, for Fair, Isaac & Company. Credit scores range from 300 to 850, with the higher score being better. A FICO score is a single measure of the risk you represent to a possible lender. Persons with lower credit scores may be denied loans or have to pay higher interest rates since they're viewed as being risky borrowers who may not be willing or able to repay a loan on time. What affects your FICO score? Well, FICO uses 5 factors. Have you paid your bills on time? Have you paid your past bills on time? This counts the most, 35%. How much do you currently owe across all your credit cards and loans? This is the second heaviest weight at 30%. How long have you had credit? The longer the credit history, the better. Another reason for starting to use a credit card responsibly, to start the clock on your credit history. Types of credit. What loans or borrowing do you have now? Credit cards, student loans, car loans, personal loans, loans for furniture or a mortgage? That has an impact on your credit score. And finally, new credit applications. This can be a negative for the credit score. Someone who is applying for different types of loans is perceived to be a higher risk than someone who is applying for, say, one new credit card. But here's a caveat. If you're shopping around for a car loan, bad idea, I know, to get a car loan, but if you are shopping around for a car loan and you're filling out different loan applications, FICO will not ding you for that. They recognize you're shopping for the best loan, and they will count that as one new credit card application. More information about these FICO score factors can be found on the MyFICO website. Go to myfico.com and look around for information about what's in your credit score. What's sometimes surprising is what doesn't affect your credit score. So what is interesting as well as items that don't affect your credit score. By law, race, national origin, sex, marital status, etc. does not affect your credit score. Your age does not affect your credit score. Neither, and this is probably surprising to many, your salary doesn't affect the credit score. The reason is people with large incomes can be poor credit risks. If they can't control their spending and the use of debt, they can max out their credit cards, max out a second mortgage or a home equity loan, and not make their loan payments on time. What matters is, do you handle the debt you do have responsibly, and do you pay your bills on time? Other items that do not affect your credit score include job title, employment history, where you live, and interest rates charged on current loan balances. One other item that doesn't affect your credit score are what are called soft inquiries into your credit report. For example, if you go to annualcreditreport.com and get a credit report on yourself, that does not affect your score. Neither does it affect your score if a credit card company does a promotional inquiry. That's the kind of inquiry that results in a "you are pre-approved for our credit card" type of mail you might get. Details on items that do not affect your credit score can also be found on the myfico.com website. Well, if we can get our debt under control, something else to consider is controlling our spending. Good habits now will help make big saving decisions easier in the future. A college student working some hours each week at minimum or near minimum wage can control spending by focusing on what spending is necessary and important to help them meet their needs in college. Hint, many people made it through college without cell phones or high-end computer gaming systems. Well, okay, they made it through because those things didn't exist when they went to college. But you can still budget and make careful decisions on spending for things you may not really need. Suppose you are watching your pennies now, but fast forward a few years, you're about to graduate, and you've accepted a job paying $40,000, maybe $50,000, maybe $60,000 or more a year. You feel rich, but you need to stay in control. One way to help you stay in control is to budget your spending for when you're out in the real world and receiving that income. You need to read the excerpt from the article called "Clueless: What Graduates Need to Know About Making Financial Decisions." It talks about two people and two very different financial outcomes. And yes, there will be questions on the Clueless article on the quiz. Let's do a quick calculation. Let's say, well, we know the number of days in a year is 365. Yeah, we're ignoring leap year. The number of weekend days in a year is 104. Okay, there's 52 weeks in a year and 2 days on a weekend, so 104 weekend days in a year. And let's say there's 21 vacation, holiday, sick days. And so what that means is, you get out of college, you start working, you might be working about 240 days a year. 365 minus the weekends, minus vacation, sick days, and that kind of thing. About 240 days a year. So suppose you spend an extra $5 each working or school day for buying a lunch or a fancy coffee or tea drink. That means your total lunch or coffee drinking and so forth is going to be $5 a day times 240 days. That's $1,200 a year. Can you think of what you can do with an extra $1,200 in savings each year? But we're not done yet. After 4 years of college, for example, if those funds were invested and earned on average 7% a year, at the end of your senior year, you'd have over $5,300. For a longer term example, suppose you have a working career of 40 years and you can earn 7% on average on your investments. Doing the financial math, which you'll learn more about in Finance 240, Business Finance, after 40 years of saving $1,200 a year and investing at 7%, you'll have nearly $250,000 in a retirement fund. Yep, nearly $250,000. Suddenly, PB&J and an apple from home for lunch looks pretty good. Okay, well, the point is not to put coffee shops or fast food places out of business, but to show first that little stuff adds up over time, and you'll want to set up and keep a budget to keep your finger on the pulse of your spending and to try to control that spending, because the less you spend, the more you can save. A budget reflects how you want to spend, give, and save your take-home pay to meet the needs and goals that are important to you. Tracking your spending and comparing it to your budget. For example, look, you can see the Excel budget sheet it's on ReggieNet for this financial literacy component. Will help you see if you're overspending and where you may need to cut back or shift future spending to stay on track. You can adjust your categories and adjust your spending over time to try to keep on track with your spending. So when you graduate, put together your estimates using one of the spreadsheet tools in this activity, or there's several online as well that you see on the PowerPoint slide. Put together your estimates using the spreadsheets or these online tools, and maybe have someone review it who's been out on their own for a while, maybe parents, an older sibling, or friends who graduated the previous year, to get their feedback as to how realistic the spending might be. Another good strategy is to have a target saving amount or debt repayment amount in mind and put funds aside for that first, and then adjust spending to fit the remaining funds. Sometimes this is called paying yourself first. Put that money aside for saving or for repaying your debt, and then you do your budget, focusing on what's left after you pay yourself first. One thing is for sure, your initial budget estimates may not always be correct. You may have to shop around for cheaper places to do some of your spending. You may find some budget categories are too high and others are too low, so you'll tweak and adjust them over time until you have a budget that reflects reasonable spending that, along with your discipline and control on spending, will allow you to save money, pay down debt, and make smart choices with your money. So let's finish up by talking a little bit about future goals. Any goal, personal goal, financial, business related, should be a SMART goal. SMART's an acronym for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Specific is, what exactly do you want to accomplish? Get a job, for example, after graduation. That's too general. Obtain an entry-level paraplanner position with a registered investment advisor to help people make appropriate financial decisions is much more specific. If you have a specific goal, you can start taking concrete steps toward meeting that specific goal. In this case, courses, internships. You can seek out registered student organizations and leadership positions that mesh with your interests. You can learn what skills are needed to help obtain the position you desire and start developing or improving those skills, and so on. For financial goals, good specific goals may be, for example, pay off my student loan in 7 years, or within 3 years, have 3 months of living expenses in my cash emergency fund, or longer term, accumulate $3 million for retirement in 40 years. Measurable, for a goal to be measurable, well, how will you know if you're taking steps to help you reach your goals, and how do you know when you get there? You need to be able to measure it. For a job, it might be interviewing now for internships or sending a LinkedIn request for those with whom you want to network. For finances, it may be putting together some numbers for how much to save each month or use to pay down existing debt. Attainable represents you want to make sure the goal and the steps to the goal are reasonable, lest you get discouraged and give up when you aren't selected to be president of a Fortune 500 company by age 30 or a retired gazillionaire by 35. Goals need to be relevant. Stay focused on what's important to you. Personally, spiritually, and professionally, it is easy to get sidetracked on things that aren't really important to helping meet your goals. I don't mean you need to be concerned with you, but you want to go right, choosing instead. But if you want to go right, choosing instead to take an easier left-hand turn may not get you to your destination. Stay on track and do what's relevant to help you meet your goals. And finally, time-bound. You want to have a deadline or a time frame. Open-ended time frames can take forever. You need to feel the pressure and have desire to get the goal done. Paying off my student loans is not time-bound. Paying off student loans in 7 years is time-bound and creates a boundary for determining the monthly payments to get you to the finish line. So here's a scary slide right here. A lot of things on that possible financial goals for you. Sometimes help and guidance is needed. On the financial end of things, look for financial professionals that have designations such as CFP. CFP stands for Certified Financial Planner, or CFA, Chartered Financial Analyst. Both of these designations have a strict ethics code and require many hours of study preparing for rigorous exams. Other professional designations to look for include CHFC, that's a Chartered Financial Consultant, and CPA/PFS, that's a CPA or a Certified Public Accountant who's taken an extra exam to be a PFS, a Personal Financial Specialist. So what are your future financial goals and how will you get there? Typical goals for graduates include 2 items: debts to eliminate and items that require savings and sometimes long-term investings. And they can include all these things on the list here, from eliminating debt, paying off credit cards, saving for a newer car so you don't have to go into debt, buying a car, saving up for future needs, a new computer, TV, or tablet, saving for vacations rather than going into debt, taking a vacation, saving up for a down payment on a home. And if you hope to hear wedding bells sometime in the future, you may want to think about saving money and put that away for engagement rings and wedding and honeymoon expenses. And then thinking down the line there, if kids arrive, maybe saving for future college bills and annual back-to-school spending, as well as saving for retirement. And let those returns compound and accumulate for you over time. So yes, that list does look daunting for 20-somethings. I know, without a job yet, it looks very daunting. But you can do it. You can do it if you plan, if you control your spending, if you keep and maintain a budget, and if you regularly save and invest appropriately and wisely. And if needed, know what you don't know. You may need to seek guidance from a qualified and trusted advisor about your student loans or debt or investment or other financial planning needs. And there's no better time to start than now. Don't wait. Start taking steps on that 1,000-mile journey to financial security today. That journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And likewise, your journey toward financial security. Good luck.